Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. My respectable guests, audience, and dignitaries who have taken part in this wonderful peace conference by the name of Paigham-e-Pakistan. And I've read the Paigham-e-Pakistan. I've signed as one of the signatories. This is indeed an historic document, which I believe contains all the things that make for peace. And that's really important. It has things that make for the peace. This historic fatwa serves as the national counter-terrorism narrative for Pakistan to tackle terrorism, extremism, sectarianism, and hatred. This has blighted Pakistan for the last 2 decades, costing it 72,000 valuable lives and $120 billion in economic loss. Pakistan has paid a heavy price. This fatwa is an attempt to make the future of Pakistan brighter, safer, and peaceful. I'm sure that is why nearly 2,000 scholars, people who are seriously involved in training the future scholars and peacemakers, hopefully, inshallah, have signed this very valuable document. The Paigham-e-Pakistan fatwa first declares that Pakistan is indeed a true Muslim country, true Islamic state, that very proudly says that we will follow the tenets of Islam, and that's in its constitution. It's part and the fabric, the very foundations. You know, when Pakistanis talk about Pakistan, they say Pakistan means La ilaha illallah Muhammadur Rasulullah. That is what it is. That is how, I don't know whether there is any other state that has such a spiritual, such a amazingly religious foundation as Pakistan has. So anybody who thinks that this is not Islamic really needs to re-examine their way of thinking. Secondly, it denounces all types of extremist ideologies, which puts an end to the sectarianism. Sectarianism now has really blighted and really harmed Pakistan seriously. And this fatwa really criticizes any kind of promotion of sectarianism. It puts an end to hatred. Now, remember, the word Islam, it stands for peace. Peace is about being considerate towards others. Peace is about really caring for others. Peace is about showing that, you know, I'm friend. I want to live I want to live together because that is the way. That is what we're here for. So, so the fatwa is really putting down some of the very foundations of Islam and of Pakistan. And thirdly, it says that jihad is the state's prerogative. It is the state who can declare a jihad. No individual and no group can start a jihad. This is the prerogative, the responsibility of the government, the elected government, to make that decision. So this fatwa, this Paigham-e-Pakistan, as it is called, I think is an amazingly powerful tool which Pakistan desperately needs at this time. Today's peace conference invites us to propose the preconditions for this peace. And peace cannot exist in a vacuum, you know. And I believe Pakistan must wage a jihad against the gross inequalities that there are, that give rise to extreme poverty, injustice, and the poor distribution of resources as well, both locally, provincially, and of course, nationally. You know, the equality and justice is so important. It must tackle the challenges to peace. It must be a transformational agenda. And that is what this is really. It's tackling all those things that are the drivers of hate, the drivers of sectarianism, the drivers of extremism, which then leads to so much destruction, so much devastation, and of course, any kind of economic development, any kind of social development, any kind of political development. So we see peace and stability as a prerequisite for the development of Pakistan as well. And we believe that conflicts making it impossible for people, conflicts make it impossible for people to improve their lives. We have to stop conflicts. And our deen really is so well, mashallah, provides us all the solutions. It has the tools to tackle conflict, disputes, and disagreements. And you know, you just read Surah Al-Hujurat, and that 6-point plan that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells us how not to be suspicious of others, how not to mistrust others, how not to call people by names, how not to be extremist, and how not to attack, and so on. It's an amazing 6-point formula for peace. You know, we need to reread our own wonderful book. We see that conflicts undermine social trust, the rule of law. They undermine human rights, and they give license for extremism, give license for terrorism, really. That is why, you know, it's so important that we build that trust. You know, as communities are destroyed, people become increasingly more poorer, vulnerable, and more exploited. And that is why, you know, we need to make sure that Pakistan has now over the years, over the last few years, has maintained a good stability, and that stability now has to turn into a real peaceful society. So how do we tackle these drivers of conflict in a comprehensive way? I think the Paigham-e-Pakistan document provides those solutions. But the most important thing really is, how do we encourage, how do we support the seminaries, which are churning out millions of young graduates, young people who have been educated in Islam, but perhaps poorly educated in their secular sciences. How do we support them, that they give education, the quality education, and make them the true servants of Pakistan? We also need to really make sure that our political institutions are strong, democratic, and of course the state institutions like the schools, colleges, universities. We have to really put lots of resources into them. I'm sure that you know, those people who are working hard, the Pakistani government, the armed forces, the religious people, the business people, you know, as a result of all that effort, I think Pakistan is now turning a corner, because I believe that, you know, the blood of 72,000 martyrs and shuhada has not gone to waste. And you know, the pain that it has caused Pakistan has not gone to waste. Inshallah, Allah will reward this wonderful state that was founded in the name of Islam. But let me give you, you know, when you look at some of the statistics, it's really amazing. Pakistan has the most youngest population. 64% of Pakistanis are actually under the age of 30. Now that is, you know, 2/3 are under the age of 30. Amazingly powerful, resourceful young people. They need, you know, to be trained, to be able to work for their country and to tackle sectarianism and extremism. I think, you know, Pakistan has a great future, but that future will be determined by its institutions, its people, and I think we need to put trust in Allah, and we need to really support those great institutions like the seminaries. I'm a graduate of a seminary, therefore I believe this has a huge impact on Pakistan's ability to be a peaceful country, a happy country, and an economically successful country. I congratulate all those people who are behind this wonderful conference, particularly my wonderful friend Qari Sayyid Sadaqat Ali, and then Brother